Hey, this is Eric Hunter here, and I got another video about pendulums. This is a really good one. All right, so when people want to debunk dowsing, like they want to prove that dowsing doesn't work, they always say, well, when you use your pendulum, it's just the ideomotor response. And what they mean by that is that it's unconscious hand movements. You're making unconscious hand movements, and that's what's causing your pendulum to move. And therefore, dowsing is flawed. It's totally fake, and it doesn't work because you're the one moving the pendulum. And I can't tell you how many times like this creeps in to the mindset of people who actually use pendulums. So I'll do a video and they'll be like, ooh, I saw your hand moving during the video, so therefore it's fake. The thing is, though, is that the ideomotor response, or the unconscious hand movements, that's the only reason why dowsing works. You have to move your hand to make it work. There are no unseen forces moving your pendulum. So we need to unpack this right now because it's a major source of confusion, both in the scientific community. They think they got us when they don't. And also within the dowsing community too, people are extremely confused about this. So let me break this down. Okay, so the first thing is that the pendulum is just an object, and unless there's energy given to the object, it's not going to move. So if you were to put a pendulum in a vacuum and just hang it by a string, it would, with no movement, no energy of any kind, it would just stay perfectly still. But in our environment, when you're holding it, your hand is going to tremble a little bit, your wrist is going to move, the floor is going to shake, your breath is going to hit it, body heat, other things, there are a lot of things that could cause the pendulum to move, right? So when you're doing dowsing, it's your hand that's moving the pendulum, whether you're aware of it or not. It may seem mysterious, like it's moving on its own, but it's not. It's just your hand that's doing it. And, for some people, the movement is very subtle. For some, it's not. But here's the great thing. Once you realize this, you are completely liberated because you understand how dowsing really works. Because dowsing is not about some spirit coming in and telling you the answers, or some mysterious force moving your pendulum. What dowsing is it is a sensory activity. You are using your senses, known and unknown, because don't forget, we have more than just the regular senses of sight, smell, hearing, touch, whatever. We have clairvoyant abilities, we have psychic abilities, and science isn't willing to touch these. They're very hesitant, even though there have been lots of studies. Like if you read books by Dean Radin or read in scientific journals, you're willing to dig a little bit, you will find double-blind studies that show that this stuff is real. And for those of you watching this, you've had your own experiences, and I'm sure you know that we have other senses. We can sense energy, quote unquote energy, like force fields around people and objects, all kinds of things we can do that science says we can't. So we have senses, both known and unknown, and we can use these senses to get answers to questions. So some people call this intuition or clairsentience or clairvoyance. You're feeling into things. So the way I see dowsing is working is that, yes, this ideomotor response, or this unconscious movement of your hand, is absolutely vital, because that is how you get the answer. Because if your hand didn't move, the pendulum would not move. So that's number one. Number two, when you do dowsing, what is going on is you are projecting, you're taking in information, you are sensing things using your senses, both known and unknown. And that could also, include your inner knowing, your intuition, also external things like energy. You're pulling all this together, you're getting an answer, you're processing it, and then that answer is coming through unconsciously via the ideomotor response of your hand. So if you do dowsing correctly, you're not like consciously thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to move it to the yes, or I'm going to move it to the no. I mean, unless you really want to get a particular answer. And that's why I always tell people, don't be careful if you're dowsing for something you really want. Like, you're on a diet and it's like, should I eat ice cream right now? Would it be in my highest good? Oh yeah, oh yeah. Or should I have a beer right now? And you're trying to give up alcohol. Oh yeah, let's have that beer. No, seriously. But seriously, what dowsing does is you are asking a question, you are sensing the answer, it is being processed through your nervous system, and then unconsciously, this is the cool part about dowsing, your senses are unconsciously giving a message to your hand that's showing you the answer. And this bypasses your normal conscious thought process. It's not unconscious though, in the sense that like it's not coming from the unconscious. It's unconscious in the sense that you're not aware of why your hand is moving one way or the other. You're not trying to make it move one way or the other, but unconsciously you are aware because somehow you got the information, you processed it, and then you're showing it in the form of an answer with your unconscious hand movements and the pendulum. So dowsing it's kind of like driving a car. So when you drive a car, you have to learn how to drive the car. You got to learn how to do the brakes, the stick shift, the gears, whatever, turn the steering wheel, turn the lights on and off, whatever. So that's kind of like with a pendulum. Like you got to learn the yes direction, the no direction, right? Or if you're using it on a chart, you got to know where the yes or the no is on the chart or the energy on the chart. So that's kind of like the mechanics. But then when you're actually driving the car, after a while, you're just responding to conditions on the road. You might see things, hear things, smell things, all your different senses, or you might become psychically aware that something's going to happen to you. Like how when you look at someone from behind and they turn around, how do they know you're looking at them, right? If they supposedly it's all vision. Anyway, so you have all these different senses, known and unknown, that you're using to help you drive the car. And then you respond. So after, when you're first starting off, you could be like, have to think about it. But like once you've been driving for a little while, all of a sudden you sense you got to stop. You're hitting the brake before you're even fully aware of what's going on. That's like using a pendulum. When you do dowsing and you get good at it, that it's going to whatever you're dowsing to, and it's not a conscious action. It's just happening. It seems like it's just happening. And it's just like you controlling the car. Like all of a sudden, you'll drive somewhere and you'll realize you weren't even thinking about the road. You were thinking about something else. And somehow you got from point A to point B. And you aren't even aware of any of the steps you took to get there. It's kind of a similar thing with the dowsing. So your hand movements are unconscious, but you are the one moving the pendulum. That's the key thing to remember. And you're doing it based on your senses. And these are senses that are both known and unknown. So you ask a question, you sense a response, and then your hand moves unconsciously based on your sensing of that response. And the more effective you can do that, the better you will be at pendulum dowsing. So that's a really key point, because a lot of people get stuck on this idea that either A, the pendulum is being controlled by some mysterious force. No, it's your hand. Or B, they're trying to eliminate all bias, and skeptics said, oh, it's just your unconscious mind. And they mean they're trying to say it's your subconscious, like it's just your inner biases being expressed through your unconscious hand movements. But no, what I'm saying is that it's not your subconscious, it's your unconscious. So you are sensing something, just like when you're driving the car, you sense something and you respond. It's the same thing. You sense something outside of yourself, and then you unconsciously respond with the pendulum, because you practice, or you have a chart in front of you that shows you how to respond, and you know what the chart is, and then you respond. But it's unconscious, but it's not coming from the subconscious. It's not your memories. It's not your biases. It's not something internal if you're doing this correctly. So just to recap here, if somebody says to you, well, dowsing is it's bogus because it's all just the ideomotor response, say, well, the ideomotor response is actually a very important part of it, because that's what gets your hand to move to record the answer that you're detecting. So turn it on its head, make those skeptics squirm. But seriously, it's really important. If you want to get good at dowsing, you have to rethink the entire thing. You have to bias it. If you do not bias it and you are completely neutral, you will never get an answer, because the answer comes from bias. It comes from you sensing the direction of something, comes from you sensing yes or no. That's bias. If you have no bias, then you have no opinion, then you get no answers. So forget about neutrality. Forget about people trying to discredit you, saying it's unconscious hand movements, because it is partly unconscious hand movements. So what it is you're answering questions using your senses, and you are recording it unconsciously using hand movements. And the information is coming from outside of yourself if you are doing the dowsing correctly. So I hope this video was useful, that provided you some food for thought. It's very different than most dowsers and other people are going to be telling you about this. So hopefully you found it to be useful. All right. If you like this video, please hit like, please subscribe to my channel. Also, check out my website, pendulumalchemy.com. I have lots of great pendulums on there, like this Orion pendulum, and I got a whole bunch of others that are really high energy, really good for dowsing, answering questions. They look beautiful. And for those of you who are into energy, they have really great energy too. So thanks very much for watching this. I hope you have a great day. Bye.